So in times past, I've spoken on home safety and security, personal security. I've spoken a couple times on different types of computing problems and computer safety. So last was in March that I spoke on personal digital security or personal, what did I call it? Yeah, personal digital security, right? And I got through about half of my content. So I was so glad that I just heard that they're going to have someone coming up to talk about home safety. I'll tell you a quick story before I get started. Um, my yoga instructor from the Lifetime Fitness over in Northbrook, she moved on to Miami and she started having Zoom sessions for yoga. So Saturday morning, I attend Zoom sessions. And a couple weeks ago, it was really cold. So I like to do it in my basement. I've got a big screen TV and I link my laptop to it using an HDMI cable. And I kind of look at that and I can see what's going on. So, but it was really cold. So I put on my warm thermal socks and said, well, it's cold down here. I'm going to go do this. All of a sudden, the session finishes. Everything went great. I was nice and limber, and kind of all stretched out. And I needed to go upstairs and I keep my computer on my second floor. So I'm walking upstairs and I'm like, oh, I need to do this, this, and this. And I did everything I needed to do. I'm coming back down the stairs to get my coffee from the kitchen. I went straight down my sock and I slid on the first stair and the second stair and the third stair. And thankfully I landed on my hands and I stressed my shoulder a little bit, but I kind of thought because I did yoga, I feel fine now. Thankfully I'm okay. But this is exactly what I talked about a couple of lectures ago. And I said home safety. Now I was holding on to the handrail, right? So when I said, hey, when you install these handrails, make sure you've got a support bracket every 3 studs. So every 4 to 8 inches, you've got something to hold it up. But I still fell. And it's exactly what I tell people. I've got these polyurethane oak stairs. Beyond dumb what I did. As soon as it happened, I'm like, I can't believe that I did that. Because normally I'm in yoga socks that have got the little rubber things on the bottom and you don't slide it off. But it just wasn't thinking one quick thing. And my wife turned to me and she said, look, you really could have messed something up. And she was right. I was just lucky. So thankful for luck, but definitely going to pay more attention. So this week, we're going to talk more about personal digital security. So I appreciate you coming. This is my first time speaking on Pizza Day. And I'm like, thank you so much for that. Now, I know you guys probably would have preferred that is it the Army or Navy band that comes typically? Navy band. Because they're fantastic. I just, I hear them queuing up in the other room and they're getting ready and they're tuning up and you're just like, oh my God, this is going to be a great performance. What I'm going to talk about is going to be not as enjoyable, but a little bit more practical. So I'm going to just kind of go into this here and let's see if this, oh yeah, there's me. Good. We talked about, so what I've done, there were actually some concerns, some, not complaints, but people were saying, hey, Patrick, you're talking about what you know. Like I have Apple devices and Windows devices, things like that. But the person had said, what about Android? What about Google? And so I've modified my original presentation, which I will make available to all of you. Everyone it's part of the Tuesday Club will receive a copy of my revised presentation. And I'm going to talk more and show you more about how these things work. So this is going to be more, I think there was more lecture topics in the last one. This is going to be more me showing you how to do things and how things work and showing you things that you've probably not seen before, but you might need at some point in the future. And so you can refer to my presentation, or should you decide it's more efficient for you, come see us in the Ackerman room on Fridays from 10 a.m. until noon. Now, I want to say I was really sorry to hear about the passing of Murray Freeman, who is one of our technologists who was always helping us. So very sad for that loss. But we will continue to provide the best level of support that we can. Okay, let's see what else we got here. So we talked about the personal digital security, the tools and practices to protect their digital identities, your devices, and personal information. Last time, I didn't get a chance to talk about the hierarchy of protection. So there are a bunch of things that you have access to. I don't think anyone's going to want to steal my library card account at the Glenview Public Library. They might want my Marianos.com login ID. There are certain things that I just want them to be as quickly as possible, and the access to be as quick as possible. So, and then there's another level of things. Anything related to personal or private data, we're going to give another level of security. And then the highest level of security, anything related to banking, investments, Medicare, Social Security, we're going to give that our highest level of protection. So we're going to go through and talk about how you're probably accomplishing it today and what you might consider in the future. Now, some of these topics, I think I could go an hour on each of these topics. So maybe we'll do, maybe, I've talked a little bit about maybe making a series and talking about some of these things, password managers. I'm going to talk about it today briefly, or using passcodes. Probably talk about an hour for each of those. Maybe we need to have a series of some type where, we can introduce these topics and then interact in more detail. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. So these were the 3 domains that we had started talking about the last time that I presented. We talked about device security. Do you remember me saying that? Do you guys remember what I said about this? Block of gold, right? It is a block of gold. Not just this device, but all of your devices these days. And it depends to what extent this is a proxy for you. Do you carry critical passwords in here underneath one 6-digit passcode? Right? To that extent, can someone break in and potentially, because you're in a bar and they're experts at watching you and waiting for you to go and put your passcode in. And even if you have it go to protected mode after 60 seconds, they can go and just keep pressing and pressing and pressing so it never goes there. You want to be vigilant with this. I'm going to Brazil. I'm going to be in Brazil from June 10th to July 10th. So I'll be making my Tuesday presentations remotely. I think you've seen me in Brazil. I'm sitting on my father-in-law's deck, and it's really nice down there. And it's winter time in Brazil, so it's 70 degrees every day. I generally don't go in December, January anymore because it's 105 degrees every day and completely humid. My wife goes for Christmas, but I'm like, no, I just can't. I can't take that heat. I feel like I'm going to melt, like I'm the Wicked Witch of the West or whatever. And I can't do that. Block of gold. And wherever it is that you keep all your critical passcodes and measures, I don't care if it's a notebook, if it's a piece of scrap paper, if it's your iPhone, your iPad, your MacBook Pro, that needs to be protected. Because generally, there's a pretty thin layer of security on top of that. So maybe you have a username and password, and if you have been listening to me and you have multi-factor authentication turned on, maybe you use a fingerprint, maybe you use a Face ID, maybe you use the passcode for your phone as multiple authentications. We want to keep this process as safe as possible. Oh, so here's if your phone were made of gold, it'd be worth $29,000. But for the average person, it's worth a lot more than that, just for the information that it has inside of it. And we talked a little bit about mobile phone security. I'm not going to spend a lot of time rehashing this because I talked about it last time. And it's in my presentation, so it'll be both on our YouTube channel. I encourage you to visit it. We have now, I think, over 100 programs on the Tuesday Club. So 100 one-hour sessions on the Tuesday Club channel. If you need any help getting there, I can certainly show you how to get there, but just YouTube NSSC Tuesday Club, and you'll find our programs. And it's a good way to look at things. Maybe you missed one, and you want to see it. It's available for you. So here's I talk about, making sure you use the 6-digit PIN with complex passwords and biometric locks. Avoid auto-saving passwords, except for your library card accounts. I mean, if you want to auto-save any of those that are less important, I think it's okay. If someone broke into my Glenview library account, they might get my loan history or something like that. I go, I'm willing to be, outed for that. Oh my God, I only read dead novelists or something like that. Fine. Multi-factor authentication, regularly back up your phone, do all the updates, right? Power it down and power it up once a week, right? Clear all those caches out, delete all the connections and everything that's kind of clogging it up. Free it up. It'll actually free up the speed as well. Let's see. Okay, so here's where I start talking about some of the new stuff. You see, I added these sections in blue. And this is last time I talked about what to do if one of your devices is either missing or stolen. And I didn't sense that I explained it very well. So here's my iPhone. I'm going to give it to Pat because it's now missing. So my iPhone is now missing. I have no idea where it is. I've lost it, or God forbid she stole it. I don't know. I don't think so, right? But I said we could go to this address here. Let's see if it lets me do this. I don't remember. Oh, there it goes. Find my devices. So this is the Find My web application. So I can't find my phone using my phone. Someone just took it. But I could find it using my iPad. I can get to this address using someone else's computer. I could borrow your phone and go to the site. No, I'm good. Thank you. But I would just go on, if you have an iPhone, I'd go on Safari, go to the site. Now I can do a bunch of different things with this. I'm going to log in here real quick. Now I have my phone muted, so I don't know if it's going to actually do anything here. But I'm going to put in my active account here. So with any luck, it's going to log me into Find My. What it's going to do now again, I don't have my phone. I'm not doing this for my phone. My phone is gone. I keep thinking, one of the things when I go to Brazil from June 10th to July 10th, one of the things that they're after, if you're a tourist or a foreigner, even me who's a permanent resident, they're after your phone. They want access to everything you have on there. Well, let's see, and it's not sharing this, so I'm going to go ahead and reshare this. Give me 1 second here. We're going to just share the whole screen. And there it goes. So you can see I own an iPhone 17 Pro. I own 2 iPads. The old one works for my security system as, it's basically just a monitor for my security system at home. And then I've got some AirPods Pro, which I don't use very often because it tends to clog my ears up. But if I wanted to, I can go on to those. And again, I don't have my phone right now, right? All I have is this laptop. I can come here and say, well, my iPhone 17 Pro is missing. It's going to show me precisely where it is. You probably can't see this, but what it says is North Shore Senior Center. It already found where it is. I might be able to get this thing to play a sound. I don't know. Let's see.
I can feel it's vibrating.
It's vibrating. Okay, perfect. Let me take that back from you. There it goes. Yeah. Thank you.
Get it there. Find mine, right?
Yeah. So it's going to be in I'll go back to the presentation, right? But I can do a bunch of different things with this phone. Do you see it gives me a number of options here? So I can play a sound. I can tell the phone that it's lost, and it has some very particular, it'll put a message saying, it'll go to my recovery and say, hey, this phone is lost. Please send an email to this backup email address. Or it'll say, please call this phone number. This is my backup phone number, my recovery phone number. I can erase this device completely. Let's say, God forbid, you went to a foreign country and you left your banking apps on your phone by mistake, or you've got something on there you don't want anyone else to see. You can erase this whole thing remotely. And the next time that it touches a Wi-Fi signal or a cellular signal, we'll completely erase this. Is that a problem? Well, if you've backed up your phone to iCloud, you'd end up needing to get a new iPhone and restore it from the cloud. Generally, what we do when we buy a new Android device or we buy a new iPhone device, we put it on top and we let it copy all the data over. So it's going to copy the It doesn't copy the emails, but it copies your contacts and your photos and everything you have stored on the device. Great, right? No problem. If you don't have the device, anything that's synced to the cloud will come back down into your new device. Takes a lot longer, but it still works. This is the main reason why most people are required to purchase, and Apple knows this. They want you to purchase the 50 gigabytes of iCloud space. What is it? Is it $1.99 a month now what they charge? Is that right? 99 cents a month, right? That will allow you to back up your devices in their entirety. Now, I suggest that you not back up all of your apps, because some of them, especially the gaming apps, because they're super huge and they're really easy to download from iStore. But everything else, back everything else up. Makes complete sense. But they did this with full intentionality, knowing that the 10 gigabytes they give you for free is not enough to back up any device, not in any measurable way. And you can see I can remove this. So I can remove this device from my iCloud account. Well, what does that mean? Well, if I take this and I sell this to my cousin, I don't want to be managing that phone in my account. So I can take it out of my account. So the process by which you would get rid of your iPhone, and let's say you're selling it on eBay, or where else do you guys sell things? You can't really sell it on Amazon, Mercari, or one of these third-party websites. First thing you do is you would do a factory reset on your device. Doesn't matter whether it's a Samsung phone, doesn't matter whether it's a Google Pixel or it's an iPhone. You're going to go ahead and reset this device. The last thing that you'll do is you'll remove it from your account. It's no longer yours. Someone else is going to register. It's going to go under their Apple account using their identity and their credentials. Perfect. Okay. Let's get that done. And we will log out of here and go to the next one. Yeah, I got to go back here. You should be seeing that now. Yeah. So for the gentleman who asked us in the last session, what about Android stuff? Android. So let me ask a quick question, especially to Dick over there. What is the relationship between Google and Android? Does anyone know? So in 2005, Google purchased the Android operating system. It is 100% theirs. So Apple owns the Mac OS, Google owns Android OS. Oracle owns Java programming development environment. These are platforms that are owned by, no one owns Unix, it's public domain. Probably the only things that you'd pretty much encounter. So Google, Android, if you go to the Google Play Store on your Samsung device, there is a reason why it's called the Google Play Store, because they actually own it. So if you have an Android device, it's logged in, and you've logged into it, it's logged in under your Google account. Now I have a Google account for Gmail, but I'm going to show you what happens when I go here. Hopefully this works. Let's see. And there it is. This is my Google account. You can see what it says at the bottom. You can't really see it that well. Let me scroll down a little bit. But it says no active devices, meaning I don't have a Google phone. I have an Android tablet, but I haven't registered with Google, so it's not there. Right? I have no, but if you had a Google phone, if you had any Android device, they would appear here. And you'd be able to do all of those same things. What it does have, though, is you can see my photo in the upper right-hand corner. So although I've logged into Google, I do have a Google account. So what I can show you here, well, let's see if it'll let me do this. And I've got something in the way. Let's get rid of that. That didn't work. I've got these 3 dots here. And this is really problematic with that. So we'll go up like this, and we'll see that I can access the entire Google menu. And so this is my Google account, the specifications. This is Google Drive. So you get 15 gigabytes for free from Google. The vast majority of us use Google Photos to share some photos. We use Gmail. We maybe store a whole bunch of things in our Gmail account. We're going to talk about how to manage that in the future, maybe in just a few minutes. You can see YouTube, of course, is owned by Google as well now. Gemini, which is the artificial intelligence engine for Google. Google Maps, Google Search, Google Calendar, Google News. What I'm going to show you is how to manage your Google account. How many people knew that you had a certain number of things that you could do with a Google account? Okay, what do you use it for? Gmail. Gmail. Photos. Okay, all of the security, all of the setup, everything is controlled through that Google account icon. I'm going to show you what it looks like right now. So you can see there's my picture in the center. I can search my Google account for anything, for a photo, for an email. It does a mass search of everything that's managed by your Google account platform. My passwords, my devices, a password manager, my activity, and email. We're going to start on the left-hand side here, and I'm going to show you how all of this works. Has anyone seen this view before? Okay, so it's really good that I'm going through this to show you how to manage this.
How did you get to this spot?
So this is myaccount.google.com. Most of you will just click on the 9 dots and click account. The 9 dots is available from Gmail. It'll be in the upper right-hand side. Let me know if you can see it. Well, I know you can, so I think we'll be okay. But these 9 dots is basically your optionality menu. So I can do it again right now and show you that if I click on those 9 dots right next to my account, it's going to pull up that same menu. Again, these are all the Google application platform programs. Bunch of different things that you can do. Okay. We're going to come here to personal information. And it's going to show you just the gender, what I've specified here, name, email. This is my recovery email. That's my wife's email. So if for some reason I lose control of my account, I've specified my wife as the recovery email. You can also set up a recovery phone number. You can set up a passkey. There are a number of things that you can do. That's my personal phone number, my birthday, the language that I work in. Let's see if there's anything else here. Yeah, oh, look at this. It's got my home address. It'll tell you everything about this account that's personal to me. Great, right? This is just envelope information. Second one, though, is security and sign-in. What is it tracking here? It's tracking every device that I've signed in. So it's tracking the sign-in on my iPhone, which we just did. It's tracking a Mac, which is going to be my iPad. Is that a couple days ago? Yeah. I have the ability to review security activity. If I do this, it will check any warnings that Google has sent to me saying, hey, we think there's a problem here. Hey, we found your password on the dark web. Hey, you've used this password 16 different times and we think it's compromised. It will do that analysis for you. Click Review Security Activity. You can see that I do practice what I teach. You can see that I have two-step authentication turned on. I have multi-factor authentication turned on for Google. Every time I go in, most of the time when I'm in my phone and I go, it sends a message to my to my iPad, or it sends a message to just the Wintel platform. You can see I've asked it to skip the password whenever it knows that it's me, like my IP address hasn't changed. And so it knows I'm probably the same person and I don't need to re-challenge with the two-factor authentication. So I've enabled that. It's a little bit more secure to turn that off. Google Prompt, I have 2 devices currently logged in. Again, it's my phone and my iPad. Two-step verification phone number and recovery phone. And I need to change that. The recovery phone is my personal phone. The recovery email is my wife's email. And I have a security question. What is the password to the richest account? I don't know. Can't tell you the answer. I don't. All right. And you can see there are a bunch of things down here. And I can change my recovery contacts, passkeys, authenticator, use an authenticator app, Google Authenticator. I can back up two-step photo verification phones and create new backup codes. A backup code is 100 alphanumeric digit code that works as a recovery key. This is something where you would send it to someone, you would print it out, and if your recovery keys don't work. One case, I had a client here who came on Fridays, and she had used as her backup email her former company that she no longer worked at. There was absolutely nothing we could do. They weren't going to restore her email account so that she could recover, and it was the TSA account. They were like, so we called TSA, and they said, you're going to need to create a new account. What they did was, when they saw that the social security number attached to the account was the same, they merged the accounts, and they do that automatically. So that was a good thing. You're going to see all my active sessions here. You can see, like I said, there's a Windows session, which is this computer here. There's a couple iPads on there. There's a couple sessions on my iPhones. So it's managing all of that for me. You can see I have the ability to find a lost device. If I were to click on this button right here, find lost device, it would give you the exact same menu, and it would say, Patrick, you have no Android devices. Linked apps. Okay, so there's two different types of linked apps. And I'm going to click on see all of my linked apps. So this is one of the things that I told you to be really careful about. Linked apps, you can see there are sign in with Google, and that means that there's a website that uses your Google credentials to sign on. Technical term for this, ironically, is called single sign-on. So when I log into these single sign-on ones, let's see which ones they are. Not sure I remember. They are Adobe Acrobat and X, which is Twitter. It will allow me to use my username and password with the same multi-factor authentication challenge to log into those platforms. Equally on these other ones, I'm just going to go back here to the linked apps. You can see I have linked accounts on there. And what that means is that Google is sharing some of your Google data to that account. So that is to Zoom, it's sharing some information. YouTube, it's sharing my personal preferences. And Honeywell Home, which is an internal sensor in my house that tracks if there's a water leak or a humidity problem. What I suggest to you is if you ever believe, when Dr. Pat asked me about this, and she thought her account may have been compromised, the first thing someone will do is they will add a linked app to this list. It'll be something that you don't recognize. If they ever do that, I mean, your job once in a while is to come through here, and you're going to get a challenge to your phone saying, we don't know what this is. I found one here that I didn't recognize, and it was some third-party advertising site that I had accidentally clicked on. And somehow it created a linked app. And it didn't do anything, but I came in here and I went to it, and there it is. And I would just delete it. I have the ability to knock all that stuff out. And that's what I would suggest you do if you ever encounter something that you don't recognize in your linked or shared apps or your single sign-on apps. Immediately delete it, because that is a backdoor that has complete access for the most part to your Google data, and you'll never know it. They could take your entire Google contacts list and send one of these spam emails to everyone in that list, and you would not know because it's existing in this linked pool. So just be careful with that a little bit. All right, let's go back here. Just going to go back to the account. Data and privacy. This is kind of an important one. So is it going to give me privacy suggestions? It can do a privacy checkup for you. Do I find any of your passwords on the dark web? Are any of these passwords, are they known compromised passwords? Are they of insufficient security? So now you'll probably see that some platforms are starting to ask for 10 alphanumerics in passwords instead of it used to be 6 as a minimum. Now they're moving towards 10. Personalized Google Play, you can see I don't do that because I don't download from Google Play. Web activity, so this is where you pause and tell Google to stop tracking you. So you can see it has my YouTube history turned on. Sometimes I want to watch something again, so I left that turned on. but the web and app activity is turned off. I don't want Google to know what I'm doing on the web and what my activity is. And you can see the timeline is also paused. See if there's anything else here. Ad center, so it sends me targeted ads. Okay, on or off, personal choice. But when you look in your Gmail and it's sending you banner ads, do you want it targeted towards your searching or not? You can easily, this is where you would turn this off. Data sharing. These are the apps that have data sharing access to my system, where I share some. I don't share all my data, but normally I might share like my contacts list with an app that I know, like Zoom, for example, when I want to invite people easily to a Zoom meeting. Google Fit privacy. If you use the Google Fitbit, you have the ability to control the access to that information. Voice match, I've never used, but you can use this to match access across your Google accounts. Google Dashboard. You can remove apps that you no longer use from your dashboard. I don't suggest that you do that. Oh, I apologize. I can't actually see this one, so I'm going to see if I can't turn this. We don't need that. I'm actually seeing the Zoom session here at the bottom, so it's kind of getting in the way here. Remove results about you. Get notified that anyone is searching for you. Anything that you'd rather remove results that you'd rather keep private. You can turn this on here and say, hey, who's looking for me? Make plan for your digital legacy. We talked about this. And I said, Google, if you do not make a plan for your legacy, you will have to go to court, have a court order that would release your data. It might take 6 months and you might never get it. Here, you can say 3 months after I pass, I want my data deleted. And in those 3 months, I want to give this person access to it. So let's just take a look at this. And you can see you can add a recipient to this. Oops. And this is my wife's email address. And I can give her access to everything. But I'm not going to do this right now because I don't want to actually give her access to everything. So delete your Google account. If I have that turned on, when to delete it? After 3 months of activity, I want you to delete my account. Makes sense. Now, there are things that you can do. You can equally just have your username and password and authentication challenge in, but remember, it's going to use multi-factor authentication if you have that turned on. So if your partner doesn't have access, and I frequently find this, that the phone was disconnected and multi-factor authentication doesn't work, you will never get access to that account. Make sure that you keep that all the access that you want. It unfortunately may be one of the things that you need to do when you're doing funeral planning, is that you regain access to these accounts that you need. You can write all kinds of data sharing into your digital legacy, into your will, and they will be honored by the courts to the extent that they're possible, but it takes months to get it. And it's not absolutely certain. When we talk about zero trust security, it actually means that. It means I trust no one. If it's called advanced data protection on your iPhone, it's under your setup menu. If you turn it on, all encryption keys are stored on your phone. If someone doesn't have that 6-digit passcode to turn that on or off, they will never access the iCloud data. I just had a young gentleman who died at 30 years old. His father came to me and he said, Patrick, I need to get access. I need to get access to his crypto accounts. And I go, well, what did he have enabled? Well, he had zero trust security enabled. We called the company. It was 1Password. And they checked his account, said he has zero trust security enabled. It is impossible. The Messiah could come down and could not restore access to that account. It's not going to happen. And so while it's extremely safe to do that, there are some risks, and you should know going into, it's not necessarily the case that you want to have the maximum security that can possibly be had, especially not against accounts that aren't critical to you. So 3 months, and of course, settings are to set up reminders and contact information. If I set that up, it will send a reminder, hey, Patrick's account has been inactive for 2 months. We're about to delete everything. You are a beneficiary of shared data. You better go and get it now, or it's going to be gone. And I think I can change that 3 months to, I actually don't know what the options are. Let's see. Yeah, so a bunch of choices. And you can decide what works best. Okay. Any questions on this so far? You guys have been quiet. I know it's a lot to take in. I'm hoping that the YouTube video was clear on this. Of course, we're always on Fridays over there. If any of this doesn't make any sense, we can go through this again.
Patrick, I want to remind everyone that you've authorized that this be recorded.
Absolutely.
So in a week or so, this will be available on the YouTube channel through the North Shore Senior Center.
Absolutely.
And we can
Yeah.
walk ourselves through that. I think that's going to be very valuable. Thank you.
People and sharing. If I want to use Google Family Sharing, it's the simplest way, right? I can take everything that's on my Google Drive and I can share it by directory. So the Google Photos I want to share, some stuff maybe I don't want to share. Maybe I like a certain class of poetry that I don't want to share with my nephew. You can decide what the access levels are for the shares that you own. You cannot decide for the shares that are shared to you. You can see I have 137 contacts in there. Everyone I've probably ever emailed or interfaced over. You can sync these to some extent with your Apple contacts. It just takes a little time to do that. Contact information served from interactions. If I have a chat with you, right? If I exchange a Google email with you, a Gmail, it's there. Contact information from your devices. I have that turned off. I personally maintain a separate list of Apple iPhone contacts and Google contacts. One is for voice and text, the other is for email, and I like to keep them separate. It's a personal preference. One user is blocked. So again, this is where you do that in the people and sharing. Someone sent me an unsolicited exotic photo. She immediately got blocked, right? We don't tolerate that. My wife certainly doesn't tolerate that. So location sharing. If I had a Google device, I could share my location. I don't, so it's not going to work. Let's see, profiles, business personalization. I do not use, Google has the Google One business platform. You are perfectly free to use that. Let's see, share endorsements in ads. You can choose to show your name, profile, photo, and activity in shared endorsements in ads. I don't do anything with Google shared endorsements. Okay. We're going to go to wallets and subscriptions. If you had, this is mostly going to be, if you had, at least these first couple are going to be, you can use Google Wallet. So I use the Apple Wallet, and I have a couple credit cards and like my health club and a bunch of my Starbucks card and my library card. You're eventually going to integrate your Illinois driver's license there, should you decide to do so. It's actually not accepted yet as a legal driver's license. So if you do that, you still need to carry your real one with you, at least for now. So the Google Wallet settings are for payment services. Here's my account storage. Again, remember I told you you get 15 gigabytes for absolute free, no charge. And those are good as long as your account is alive. Now you can see I've not specified the death of my account 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 months. So that will stay there, I don't know, a long time, perhaps forever. I don't know. I don't have any subscriptions. I do have, I think, one subscription on my iPhone, but I'm not a big subscriber. Let's see what else we have here. So if I click on account storage here, it's going to show you where I keep, what I keep on each of these platforms. Google Drive. These are just superfluous files that I interface to Google or people have shared with me. So Google Drive might be the same as OneDrive. It might be the same as your files on your iCloud setting. Gmail, 8.27 gigabytes. That is a lot of mail. I don't have a lot of attachments and things like that. I get over 250 email messages a day. If you send me something and I miss it, please excuse me, because sometimes I have to scroll through 2 or 3 pages every day just to keep track. I'm working on creating rules that will automatically put things in the proper folder so that I look at the high priority things first. I haven't done that yet. If you're not careful with it, it tends to replicate things. So you end up with things, multiple things in different places. Google Photos, you can see I have just a couple. You see that for 49 cents a month for the first 6 months, you can get 100 gigabytes of storage. You can see that it costs less than Apple. It is also significantly more difficult to use. If you upload all of your photos to Google Photos, I had a friend that retired from a teaching job, and she said, well, I've got 20 years of my students and everything I want to get off. I had to export it to a comma delimited file, to a compressed file format, and then reinitialize it for her. They went into a zip file. They made it extremely difficult. I mean, it's designed to stay there forever. Now, let me tell you this. They will be there forever. You will never lose those photos until you stop paying for 6 months. Stop paying for 6 months. I always tell people, yes, my wife and I own our house. As long as we make that payment every 6 months, you'll find out exactly how much you owe. It's the same with this. It's your data. You never look at the contract. Jim, people never look at the contract when they sign up for these things. You own it to the extent that you continue to pay for it. You don't have a right to this and when you stop paying. So you're basically leasing the space. And they're not keeping your photos. These are zeros and ones that they're reserving for you in a shared data space. And if you don't pay for it, just like, what are those programs where storage wars, where you stop paying and they just go and auction off your stuff? No, these guys aren't going to do that. They're not going to auction off your photos. They're literally just going to zero them out. Man, no questions. Good. Anything so far? Yes, sir.
That they store or have access to for their purposes to monetize your information, such as for training their
Yeah.
AI models.
Can you repeat the question,
Yes,
Patrick?
you want me to repeat it?
Please,
Okay.
sir.
The question is, Google, as well as other companies, tend to use the information that they store, which you think is private, for their own internal purposes that generates revenue for them. And my concern is they are monetizing for their own purposes your information that you think is yours and yours alone.
Yeah.
Can you
So that's
address
good. That's a
that?
really good question. And Google, like Facebook, like Instagram, like X, they're not interested in publishing your photos to the internet. What they're interested in analyzing is they're interested in understanding your browsing. If you allow them, you can see I don't allow them to look at my web activity, but they want to beam content to you that you're going to click through. That is their main monetizer. It is advertising. That, and now you purchasing cloud-based services. What's a cloud-based service? You buy the 100 gigabytes for 49 cents a month. Maybe you decide that you want to store your entire DVD library on there and you need a terabyte of space to do that, and they start charging you $5 a month. Maybe you want to use their AI engine, Gemini, and they're going to charge you $4.99 a month. This is a pay-as-you-go subscription service. And to the extent that they mine your data, they are not interested in the data itself. They are interested in signing you up for subscriptions. So if you are vigilant and you say, I'm not going to sign up for any of these, then you are a low profit customer to them. Right? You're not going to get any special deals. You're not going to get this thing here where it's 49 cents a month. I guarantee you that's for 6 months or maybe a year. But what they want to do is they want to get you in there and they want to sell you, oh my God, look what I can do. I can use Gemini to optimize this and get you down to a lower, so you can pay $4.99 a month to save 49 cents a month, right? And you as an educated consumer need to be able to make those choices. Maybe these AI systems provide something for you. I was asking a question today. Someone asked me, how does a MacBook Pro integrate its VPN services with my third-party VPN? No one's asked me that question in 4 years. I actually had to look it up and I used Gemini to do it. It had an exact answer how it integrated them. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't know because no one had asked me, but I knew where to look. Now, if I was really thinking, I'd probably look at Gemini, then I'd go to Apple support and ask them. I might even ask a third person. I don't know, but somewhere between there, between that logic, we find the truth. Okay.
We have a question over here, Patrick.
Yes, sir.
I had a question about linking different accounts. Fidelity has suggested that I link my account to my bank, so I can transfer money from there to the bank. My
Yes.
question is, if someone hacks the bank account, can they go backwards and get into the Fidelity account? Or is it safe to do that? I don't want to link my bank account to Fidelity.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate circumstance. I have a trusted Vanguard, and they said to me, Patrick, we will no longer send you a paper check from this. They use an intermediate system called Plaid, and Plaid is a financial institution to financial institution interface that is about as safe. It's not unhackable, but it's relatively safe. It's probably going to be in short measure that you're going to be forced to do this using Plaid to set up transfer to transfer. For them, it costs them almost nothing. And if there are corrupted transactions, they can make you whole on those if someone gets access to it. It's safer than you sending a check in the mail. Let me say that. You're right. It's safer than you using an ACH, an automated clearinghouse transaction, to deposit money into someone's account. So basically allowing a third party to debit your checking account. So it's about as safe as it can get. So I actually do this. I use Plaid to do this. I interface Chase Bank to my Wise account to transfer money to Brazil. I also have my Vanguard account linked to my Chase account for my required minimum distributions on the trust. And I have not had a problem in 12 years.
You
Sir.
suggested deleting your banking app before traveling abroad, but
Yeah.
my banking app allows me to lock the card if it gets suspicious charges on it or I lose it. What was the benefit of deleting the apps if you travel abroad?
So if you can lock it with a banking app, you can probably unlock it as well. So it's kind of the absolute security. So I have the Chase banking app right now on my phone. And when I go to Brazil, I delete it. It literally takes me 2 minutes to add it back in. Someone gets control of that phone and somehow they're able to back into my username and password. And somehow they're able to fake out my multi-factor authentication. I don't want to give them control to that account. So I simply make it more difficult. Now, could they go on the web app and do the same thing? Perhaps. But they're trying to, in foreign countries, they're trying to do everything they can from your phone. So it's just as, I think having all your credit cards written down, if you have the ability to use a locking service, that's fine too. But the ability to turn those babies off is a really good protection. And perhaps, let me show you something. So here's my iPhone. And I'm going to open up the side pocket to it. Whoa.
I didn't get that.
I heard you. You didn't say anything. Don't worry. Hey, Arnie, come here. Tell me what the credit card number is for my Apple Card.
There's no number.
There is no number.
It's all digital.
It is all encrypted on the chip. This is the card that I take as my backup card to Brazil, right? You would need to get, I don't know what you could do to do this, but it has no number. Every single time it uses an encrypted key for that transaction. It's pretty safe, right? No number. This is definitely coming from more cards in the future, no number cards, right? They're just going to use the chip and they're going to use your authentication to that device to legitimize the transaction. Is that clear? That's kind of an important point, that we're looking to not make it more difficult for people to steal your things. So the reason why, for example, you might use PayPal or Venmo is because they obfuscate. You've got a card or a bank account that's registered to them, but it's never shared. They simply instantiate the transfer. We're using a middleman to protect your data. It's a really good idea. Same using Venmo, or you use the Zelle app from one of the banks. Same basic idea. You're letting a third party handle this. Now, what you need to know about those is those are basically cash. You send a Venmo transaction, you send a Zelle transaction to someone, laid is played. It's gone. And you're going to have a very limited ability to get it back. This is why these fraudsters say, send me crypto. They say, send me gift cards. They want things that are both untraceable and can't be canceled. If they had just your credit card data, that can easily be paused or canceled or enabled. Ron.
Question a little bit different, outside of the security.
Yeah.
The fun and games part of the computer. I have lots of CDs. I've transferred lots of music to my laptop.
Sure.
Bought a new iPhone. iPhone used to be able to play, I had the music on my old iPhone. How do I get music from my phone without having Apple Music? Because they want something like $10 a month or something like that.
Yeah.
Is there a simple process that others that might have music on their computer, put it on the iPhone? Is there a program you can use?
So there are multimedia jukeboxes that are available for download for free. What they're going to do for the CD, they're going to rip it from the AAC format into an MP3 format for you.
Okay.
An MP3 is a portable music format, just like MPEG is portable video. MP3 is portable audio.
You can email an MP3.
Absolutely. It's going to be so where videos are in the tens or hundreds of megabytes, audio is somewhere between 2 and 6 megabytes. So you're not going to be able to send an entire CD, but you could send 5 or 6 songs, absolutely.
Right.
So what you're looking to do in that case, the technical process is called ripping a CD or convert.
Well, now I've got the CD on the computer.
Yeah,
How do I get it? What program would you suggest using to get it to the iPhone?
I haven't used multimedia jukebox in a while, so I'm not going to recommend, but let me get back to you. I'll
Okay.
find one that's good for ripping.
Okay, we got other questions here, so
Please.
let's get the microphone over there.
I do want to show you one more thing. So keep asking questions. I'm going to show you what my Gmail account looks like. It's kind of bad, so forgive me.
Yeah, my question is in regards to crypto.
Sir,
What's your thoughts about keeping crypto like on Coinbase or moving it to a cold wallet?
it's a really good question. So I'd have to ask you questions about that I'm not going to quite ask you publicly, but I would ask you privately about what your purpose is in using. I'll tell you why I use cryptocurrency. I use a British video streaming service in the UK that demanded cryptocurrency or one of the cryptocurrencies as payment. I immediately responded to them and said, look, I need you to confirm to me that you are licensed to send me everything that you're streaming to me. That's all I can do. Netflix has never confirmed to you that they actually have a license. We just assume that they've licensed all the content they're streaming to you. But I had to ask this company because I don't want the FBI showing up at my door saying, hey, you've got an unlicensed streaming service here. So I asked them, and I pay like $10 a month or something, and I get some British shows and some local football and soccer and things like that, rugby and things that I like, but I pay extra for it, and they asked me to pay in crypto. Cryptocurrency is used for a couple different reasons. It's used by a whole bunch of criminals and bad users, right? It's used to protect your identity. It becomes non-traceable because of the way that the blockchains are established. It's used in some foreign currency transactions because it's more stable than it doesn't have. It's against a foreign currency. It's kind of hard pegged. The value of the Bitcoin itself fluctuates wildly. So the number of Bitcoins you have, but its rate against a particular currency, I follow it against Brazil. Sir.
Patrick, we need to hear from Pat.
Yeah.
Then we want you to show us what you want to show.
Yeah.
He's already
Pizza.
Get us pizza. Let's see, one thing is I have a way of misplacing my phone at home.
Mhm.
So with an iWatch, you press the button and you press this other little button.
You are activating Find My.
Yes, and the other is we have such things on Jim's keys,
Yes.
on his wallet,
Hmm.
find my, because it's somewhere in the house.
They've got a little key fob that you
Yes,
can add.
yes, you
Yeah.
helped me to add.
So that is exactly what an
Do you have one
AirTag
that
is.
says find Jim?
Yeah, I do. I do, and I'm able to find out where he is, and so I can find if he's at Panera's.
The coffee's good there. Yeah, so this is my Gmail account, and you can see I have 37,287 emails in there. And if we scroll to the bottom, you would see that I forget what it was, how full I am, 57% full. About every 6 months, I come up here. Watch what I do. I'm in the search email bar. I'm going to type something very simple. Unread. If I haven't read it, I'm not really in, but watch what I do. And then I click enter. Now it's showing me everything that is unread, that is in all of my emails. Now watch this. I'm going to click older than 6 months. So if I haven't read it and it's more than 6 months old, I want it in this list. Very, very simple to do. Now you would have to decide what your own strategy is. I delete everything that is unread that's more than 6 months. Now, what do you see when you look at my mail list? It should be going back to November, right? 6 months ago. And it says November, it's right around Thanksgiving time. What do I do now? Do you see this little box here? Select everything. Now, there's a little blue line over here that says, select all conversations that match this service. Not just the first 100 on this page, but the first 25,000 messages that are unread. I'm going to go ahead and select this. Select all conversations. Now, every single one of those conversations has been selected. Now, let me tell you, I'm going to go here, and what it's going to do is it's going to move 25,000 emails to the trash. Google doesn't do that instantly. It's going to take probably a week for it to do this. It does it in batches of 200 to 500 at a time. They will go and sit in your trash. So if I do this right now, you're going to see that it doesn't free up the space that I have. What it does is it moves them to the trash, and I can recover them from the trash. By default, it stays in your trash 30 days. You put something there and you forget about it. I had someone accidentally delete something and they were all in their trash, and we just went back in, selected it all from the trash and restored it back to the folder where it came from. Got 30 days to do that. So it's the same with the photo directory, deleted iPhone photos in the photo app, same, 30 days. You delete it, it goes into the deleted items folder for 30 days. Now what I'm going to do, you see the little garbage can there that says delete? Goodbye. And it tells you it's a bulk action, meaning it's more than one page of data. It's going to, and it's not, it says, hey, are you sure that you want to continue? I'm sure. If it's over 6 months old and I haven't read it, I think it's time to get rid of it because it's cluttering my box.
Patrick, absolute last question, but it's tied to this. Our grandkids' emails are all in that trash list. They don't respond to it. Young people today pretty much might respond to text messages. Emails seem to be not the way to reach our teenager kids. Or do you have any thoughts about protocol and how the differences between super seniors who feel guilty in not responding to an email,
Right.
and anyone maybe under 60 saying, you know, emails don't exist, I could ignore them? Just a protocol issue.
I have this thing with
Civility
my
issue.
20-something nieces and nephews, and they tend to ignore my email messages. My Brazilian nieces and nephews, the app that they use to chat with one another is called WhatsApp. Who's heard of WhatsApp? Okay. I would strongly suggest that you send either an SMS message from your phone, or you send them a WhatsApp message, or perhaps even instantiate a call. If I want to talk to them, it is the only way. They will never respond to an email from me unless I put them a message on WhatsApp that says, please check your email. And I've included, but you can now, so WhatsApp is now MIME supported. So it's multimedia interface supported. So you can now send photos and videos and audio files. It didn't used to support that. Now it does, right? It's the same. You have a very limited access on the SMS capacity of your iPhone as far as how large files, even for Google. Try sending a file larger than 30 megabytes on Google and see what it sends to you. If you haven't paid for a premium service, it's going to tell you to share it to a Google Drive or share it from some other way, because it won't send it to you, because it doesn't want to clog up its systems with these really large files.
Patrick,
Sir.
I'm over here. It's time.
And
Please,
so who's ready for pizza time?
please remind people about Friday.
Fridays, right. We're in the Ackerman room, 10 a.m. to noon. Anything we've talked about today and anything related to this, we can certainly help you with. If some of this stuff seemed like gibberish and you want to go over it again, which the first time through, it's confusing, right? I've been working with this for years and years and years and years. And you can see there are some things that I didn't set up, but I hadn't really thought. They're changing it, but it's not, it's not been really necessary for me.
Cue the orchestra.
Yeah, here's Bob over here. Hey,
Way off.
personal safety, right? Let's keep those people coming. Thank you so much for your time.